This is snow, ladies and gentlemen. And you might know what it is, but did you know that it's also the natural enemy to all of my reptile friends? Cold-blooded? Ectotherm? What does it all mean? We're gonna go over that today. Cue the intro. So to answer the first question you probably have, no, their blood isn't cold. In fact, animals like Kyle like to keep their blood very warm. Much warmer than your blood and my blood. Instead, you should really consider them ectotherms, which is a term I'll explain right now. If we are to go the boring way and I'm going to break down the word for you, ecto means exterior and therm means heat. Now, we mammals are endotherms, which means that we produce our own heat, which is why when you have a fever, you're higher than you normally are, but you don't drop your temperature down when you go outside at -10. Instead, mammals have found many different ways to evolve past dropping their temperatures down, like shivering and sweating. Reptiles, on the other hand, lack all ability to do that. They don't have the pores in their skin to be able to produce sweat, and therefore they're not able to cool themselves down when they get too hot. And on the opposite end of the spectrum, they also haven't developed a way to cope with the cold, like shivering. Which is why animals like Kyle, here, he's a lizard, and every other lizard, and every other snake, and every other turtle, and every crocodilian needs a big enough enclosure to have a gradient, which means a hot surface that they can bask on, and then some cooler surfaces under where they can feel cool. And that also allows them to thermoregulate, which is something that I'm doing right now because, as you can see, I'm quite sweaty in this room. So what does the snow mean for all of my animals? Are they worried at all? My animals, not worried at all. And I'll explain why. You see, each of my reptile rooms are climate controlled for the species that are in those rooms. The temperatures do fluctuate in the rooms, depending on what time it is, but not outside of the set range that I've set for each individual room, and they all vary differently. This room that I'm in right now doesn't fluctuate below 85 at night, and it doesn't go above 95 during the day. This is where I keep all of my most arid animals, the hottest animals, and in other rooms, the temperatures are different. But temperature isn't the only thing. Temperature is half the battle. Humidity is also the other half. As you can see, 48% humidity is not what you would get in an average house, but if we step over to the other room that is right here, you can see that that's actually quite on the low end of the spectrum. This, of course, is the tegu room, and it is the hottest room in the house because my tegus love their hot spots very, very hot. It doesn't get much colder than 90 degrees in here. They're actually on a little thermostat that is right here, taped to the wall, and if that detects that it's lower than 90, the lights turn on. Now, obviously that doesn't work during the night, and sometimes it drops to 88, 87 during the night, but we monitor all that stuff, and it's the hottest room in the house by far. Now, as for humidity, you'll notice that it's at 61 right now. That's actually at the very, very bottom of the range that we've set because I water here every day. Oftentimes it gets to 88, 89% humidity, and that is exactly what they need in order to shed really, really massive pieces like the one I have right here. That's Cherry's entire abdomen right here. Cherry is my big adult male Argentine tegu, and he is literally a puppy dog. You would not believe how tame this animal is. Look at how he loves my hugs, and he's just one of the best lizard in the entire world. You'll know that tegus are one of my favorite animals on the planet, and that is with a reason because they are so lovely. I'll talk about them in another video coming really soon, but we'll keep on going with the rest of the rooms. Whoa, hold on a minute. I'm so sorry to interrupt your content, but did you know that 91.4% of you are not subscribed? I know, it seemed a bit high for me too. Please help me correct that statistic, and let's get back to the video. There is one room left, and we'll go in it right now. It is the snake room, and that is a much different environment because they are a little bit colder than the rest of my reptiles. Now, I don't mean colder in their enclosure, I mean colder in the room because ambient temp is very important to some of my species, like this Solomon Island tree boa right here. And that is a temperate species, which means that they come from temperate regions, which aren't deserts and aren't arid or anything. They're mostly like forests, and it rains a lot and stuff like that. Not necessarily a rainforest either. Rainforest is its own ecosystem because it's really hot in the rainforest. they come from temperate forests. But when I say cooler, I don't mean cold. I mean still it's 78 degrees in here and it doesn't drop lower than 75, but it doesn't get above 82, 83 degrees either, because some of my species would really suffer in that case. Take for example my arachnids. I've got a bunch of tarantulas and arachnids in here, and they would definitely not like the first or second room for sure. As for humidity, I've got a lot of species in here that can develop respiratory infections if the humidity is too high. So the humidity right now is at about 41%, and it doesn't climb much higher than that. I actually just missed it this morning. So for those who have watched last week's video, we actually have the dig box that's set up for Kyle or Kylie right here, and Kyle or Kylie is very, very dirty right now because of it, because they spend a lot of time in it, and I don't know if it's gonna make a burrow or not. Right now it just kind of seems like they're digging aimlessly. But it's only been in there for 2 days, so we don't know yet. You know, it could be a process of getting used to it. But to go back to the cold-blooded, hot-blooded debate, it's not necessarily the term that is the most easiest for people to understand, and it's not that it's a wrong term at all. Ectotherm is a more precise term, but definitely cold-blooded is an accepted term. It's just a little misleading because it kind of seems with the word that if you were to like touch the open wound of a reptile that the blood would be cold in it, when in fact if that's the case, they would be dead for a while now, because their blood has to stay at least at our level of heat, 37 point whatever, I'll put it on screen, but ideally much higher. You know, this guy's got a basking spot at 140 right there, and he's right under it being a good boy right here. But that doesn't mean that his blood can handle being that hot at all times either. They need to be able to regulate through movement. Just means that they come from hot regions, they don't need to have evolved to produce heat on their own in their cells and stuff like that. There's plenty of shade in their area, so they've got cooler spots, and then there's plenty of rocks that are beamed down on the sun all day, and they love to go on that to recharge their batteries. Now Carl, my Nile monitor, obviously he loves his hot spot, but as you can see right now, he's moving away from it. He is done with basking. It means he has reached an internal temperature that he finds hot enough. So now he'll go lay right there where it's still warm but not as hot, and he'll just stay there for hours. But the opposite is also true, because he'll also go in his water, which is room temperature. Keep in mind my room is much hotter than most rooms, but that water is much colder than that platform right there. And he'll stay hours in both spots depending on how he feels. Sorry, me again. I promise this is the last time I'll interrupt your content, but we just launched our brand new website for our Zoo to You experiences. So if you're in the Ottawa Gatineau region, don't hesitate to visit mysticanimals.com. That's www.mysticanimals.com. Now back to the video. Now obviously that does mean that it is much too cold for me to do any reptile videos that are outside for until the next few months, until like May or June or whenever it's above 20 degrees Celsius. But right now it's looking pretty muddy, and just like a reptile, couldn't be less happy about it. But at least I won't die of it. I hope this video has helped you out. I hope you guys enjoyed, and if you did, drop the like and hit the subscribe button. My name is Matt. I'll see you later. Peace. Thank you so much for checking out this video, everybody. If you enjoyed it, make sure you hit that like button, and if you really loved it, why don't you subscribe? It's free, you know?